Hello guys and welcome to Tom's Drams. I'm Tom, and this is the Dram of the Week. Alright, welcome guys. This is the Dram of the Week right here. This is Caol 12. Yes, that is how you pronounce it, Caol 12. I've heard plenty of people say Caol 12, but it's actually Caol 12. It is a malt from Islay again. So last time we did Bowmore 15, this time it is going to be the Caol 12 years old. Let's see what is on this beautiful small bottle here. This is a 20 centiliter bottle that I actually bought at the Talisker distillery in Scotland, believe it or not. Both of those distilleries are owned by Diageo, and in their little shop they had this little bottle of Caol 12, which I picked up over there. So this is actually a souvenir from Scotland for me, which is pretty special. So let's see, out of sight, in a remote cove near Port Ascaig lies Caol, a hidden gem among Islay's distilleries since 1846. Not easy to find, Caol's secret malt is nonetheless highly prized among devotees of the Islay style. Well, hard to find, not easy to find. I wouldn't say so. This one is pretty common. You can get this one pretty much at pretty much everywhere in the world, I guess. Also, it is pretty interesting to note that Caol is actually the whiskey that is used in a lot of Johnny Walker blends. Caol, actually, their biggest yield, if I'm not mistaken, goes into Johnny Walker blends, which, the Johnny Walker blends have like 50 or 60. The Johnny Walker Black, for example, has like 50 or 60 whiskeys in it. Also from distilleries that don't even have single malts, that simply only run, in order to produce, whiskey to go into the Johnny Walker Black blend. But Caol 12 is a big part, or just Caol whiskey, not necessarily 12-year-old, is a big part of Johnny Walker Black, for example. So yeah, this one is a smoky whiskey. It is definitely peated. So if you're not into peaty whiskey, you probably would not enjoy this one too much. Although I would say it is a pretty good entry point into the smokier Islay malts. There we go. Just a little cork. Just fruity and some sea minerality in there. You kind of smell the sea on that cork. It's pretty nice. All right, let's take a look at the color here. So the color, if you look at it, it is not super dark. The last time we reviewed Bowmore 15, I only poured a little dram, so it might be a little bit hard to see, but last time we poured Bowmore 15, and, on Bowmore 15, we really had a lot of sherry influence. Not with this one. This one has been matured exclusively on ex-bourbon casks. And this one is very smoky. The first thing that you get is a lot of smoke, but there's also a really fresh, fruity note to it. So there is definitely some marine characteristic to this one. Some like sea salt characteristic that you definitely get from this. It's not actual salt, but it's definitely, it makes you think of sea salt when you smell this. And then also there is a light fruitiness in there, something like, like green apples. The last time I smelled this, I also got a little bit of burnt caramel from this. If you really think of like the caramel burnt on top of a creme brulee. It's very faint, but it's, when you think about it, it's definitely there. Yeah. It smells very, very fresh. I mean, combined with the smoke and that freshness, this one is really a really good entry point into Islay whiskeys. If you're not really into the smokier whiskeys, this one is a pretty good starting point together with Highland Park 12. Highland Park 12 is probably a little bit of an easier entry into that world. But if you really want to get into the really smoky ones, this one is a good point to start before you get into the Lafroigs or Arbegs or Lagavulin or something like that. This one is a really solid starting point because it is fresh and light, but it has that added smokiness and sea minerality to it. Yeah, sláinte. Okay, spicy. This one has a really good oak spice kick to it. Spicy, smoky, intense, very intense. Um, Definitely not for a beginner. I would say, not a beginner whiskey at all. But there is quite a lot, of sweetness to it as well. Especially when the first initial, alcoholic and oaky, spicy bite fades off. You get a nice, lingering sweetness in your mouth. And now when you smell it, you really get the caramel and the fruit, oranges even. After the first sip, the smell gets much, much sweeter even. Let's see what Caol Ila themselves say about this one. Let's take a look. So what they're saying is, bursting with powerful flavor, Caol Ila Scotch does justice to its Islay home. The nose, subdued citric fruitiness. Oh yeah, that's actually one note that I actually kind of forgot. I did get this one last time a lot. I did mention oranges. Oranges is I only got that after the first sip. There was some sweetness, but it was more apple-like. But definitely there is some citrus to this. Yeah. A whiff of bath oil and dentist's mouthwash. Now this is one that I don't think I'm very sensitive to. Like the really phenolic, medicinal nose. I don't really get that too often from Islay Scotches. I know that's like a note that gets, mentioned quite a lot. But this doesn't remind me really of that. Maybe a slight bit if you really, really think about it, but I mean, for me, it's not the most apparent note of that. Fresh and appetizing note with little or no trace of smoke. Well, I wouldn't say so. That's also pretty weird. I would say, if you smell this, there is definitely quite a lot of smoke on there. Little or no trace of smoke. It kind of depends on when, of course, you're tasting this. If I have tasted, quite a bit of smokier whiskeys before this, then it probably would have been more apparent. But it definitely is stronger than in something like a Bowmore or a Highland Park. So, for me at least. Smooth, pleasant mouthfeel, firm with a light to medium body. Drinks well in natural strength, sweet start, pleasant, light fragrant smokiness, and a lengthy finish. I would definitely say the finish is lengthy. I'm still tasting. I have a lot of flavor in my mouth still. Smith's sweet smokiness and a lingering, slightly sour finish. I don't really get sourness out of the finish there. Show full tasting notes. Fresh, sweetly fruity, and smooth with light smoke. Sweet floral fragrances with a smooth body, balanced taste, and a sweet, smoky, lingering finish. I would definitely say it is a very balanced dram. Like I said, pretty good for getting into Islay whiskeys. If you're really never tasted any of those, it is really a good one to get into. Definitely getting more of the citrus at the second nosing. spicy, impactful. Definitely smoother on the taste on the second sip, but it definitely, has some spice kick to it. Even after 12 years, that's actually not a long time. It it does have some kick to it. It's very pleasant, but it's not, it's definitely not a beginner's Scotch. So, hope you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.